Welcome to the Protagonist Pub. My name is Tammy, and this is where characters gather. Well, if you're new here, welcome. I hope you find something interesting to read. If you're here for Catholic fiction, I read at least one Catholic fiction book a month. And there is a 2025 Catholic Fiction Challenge. It is linked in the description box down below. I hope everyone is having a happy and joyous Advent season. And if you are on Discord, you know that, or Instagram, I have asked for prayers for this week in particular. That intention still stands. I would greatly appreciate them. Everyone is fine here physically. It isn't physically related, but I would greatly appreciate them. So, okay. What did I read last week? Despite the incredibly stressful week last week was, and this week is undoubtedly going to be more stressful, I got a lot of reading done. None of it was on my shelves though. But still, that is okay. So first, let's do the audiobook. Say audiobook, and I have a feeling I listened to 2 this week. And I don't know what the second one is. Oh well. The first is Murder in the First Edition by Lauren Elliott. This is the 3rd book in the Beyond the Bookshop mystery series. It is set on the coast of Massachusetts in a small town called Gray Harbor. And this one is set at Christmas. And our lovely heroine, Addie, donates a rare copy of A Christmas Carol to the hospital for their annual Christmas fundraiser. And it's an expensive edition. Someone gets murdered, the book gets stolen, and it goes on from there. We meet Jonathan, who was Addie's potential father-in-law before her fiance was murdered back in Boston, before the series opens up. And Addie highly distrusts Jonathan, to put it mildly, and that is a consistent theme throughout the book. There's the romance threads going on that are coming to, if you hear Dave sneezing, I apologize. God bless you. Throughout this book that have sort of been running through the first 2. This was just delightful. It was appropriately atmospheric. It was well plotted. It was engaging, and I absolutely loved it. I did. I absolutely loved it. So it, I listened to it on Libby. I'm looking forward to the 4th book in the series. If you love books, if you love used books, this is a great mystery series. It has family, it's a small town, books, a little bit of romance. You know, it's just a well done, cozy so far. So, can't beat that. Okay. Next up is Body in the Library by Agatha Christie. I read this electronically from one of the library apps, and this is a Miss Marple. It takes place just outside of the village of St. Mary Mead, and one of her friends is awakened by her maid in the morning, proclaiming that there is a body in the library. And the mystery goes from there. This one was just so much fun. Miss Marple at her finest, nosy without being nosy. She's much more involved than she was in A Sleeping Murder, which I, excuse me, finished last Monday morning. And it, it was perfection. When you want a Miss Marple, you want Miss Marple. And this was very much Miss Marple. It gave all the appropriate cozy vibes. It was well crafted. And in under 250 pages, Agatha Christie can write a cozy mystery novel that hits every checkbox for you and still has a depth of character. And modern rivals cannot come close to her in that ability and that talent. And it's just sad. I'm going to leave it there as it's just sad. So there you go. Okay, up next, what else did I read? Okay, next up would be 2 library books. And first up would be Playing It Safe by Ashley Weaver. This is the 3rd book in the Electra McDonald series. And surprisingly for me, these are set in World War II. I know. Who am I and what have I done with myself? However, there is, yes, the war is going on. Yes, it is clearly one of those background characters. You know how atmosphere tends to be, but it isn't a pervasive and intrusive character. It is much more this is the reality of the world I'm living in, and how do I adjust? So our heroine is Electra, and she goes by Ellie. And she was brought up in a family of safecrackers. And in the first book, she's recruited by the government for her and her family's particular skills, and they're forced to sign the Official Secrets Act, and that sets up the entire basis for the series. So in this book, Ellie is separated from her family. She is sent to, what's the town? Sunderland? Yeah, Sunderland, which is on the coast. And she doesn't know why she's being sent. She just knows that the British government, for some reason, needs her to spend 2 weeks in Sunderland getting to know the locals. And it turns into this very interesting story, under 300 pages. Is it as tightly woven in comparison to, let's say, a Miss Marple? No. Is it still satisfying at, 260 pages? It is, but in an entirely different way. Because it's set in World War II. I think this is why it gets away with this. It's set in World War II, and so you automatically have that tension built into everything. London is actively being bombed on a nightly basis. There's always the constant threat of Nazi spies and German sympathizers, and all of that plays into the background very well in this series. And that is why, even though the books are criminally short, in my opinion, they still work. The 4th book is out, and I will read it here sooner rather than later, so I'm not too far behind when book 5 releases. Okay. That brings us to Whiteout by Ken Follett. You saw my video last week. This was my quote-unquote Christmas gift from my library. I did finish it this week. And I have some thoughts. Oh, do I have some thoughts? So this is definitely a action thriller book. And it was published in 2004. And it was very good. So there is a bioengineering facility on the coast of Scotland. Our heroine is Tony, and she is the head of security, although they call it facilities, for the lab. And there is a break-in. Somebody steals one of the lab animals and takes it back to his farm. They discover him dead and bleeding from every orifice. And that sets up the rest of the story. The tension was great. The pacing was great. The overall storyline was great. However, there is this very distracting, unnecessary, gratuitous set of threads. So the first one involves Tony and her boss and the owner of the company. Oh, what's his name? Stanley, I believe. Yep, Stanley. And Tony is, let's be kind and say she's 40 something. And she is attracted to Stanley, who is a widower of 18 months and has 3 grown adult children. So, okay, the attraction thing would be fine. That's not unexpected. That's not the problem. The problem is some of the language used to describe the attraction is absolutely unnecessary. And at the end of the book, it's absolutely unnecessary to the way their relationship is portrayed. Now, is anything on the page? No. Is it very clearly implicated? And yes. Did it serve any purpose for the overall story? No, it absolutely did not. If you removed all of that, it changed nothing. So the other problematic thread involves one of Stanley's grandsons and potential granddaughter. So the story takes place over Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. And all of Stanley's kids and their husbands and or partners and kids all come to stay with him at the house in which they grew up. So one of those is his granddaughter by his eldest daughter, and the other is the daughter of the man who his youngest daughter is potentially becoming engaged to. So the two teenagers, they are 13. So the girl is either 13 or 14, and the boy is 15. And there is this very unnecessary and uncomfortable attraction between these two teenagers, and it served no purpose in the book. Well, it does serve a purpose, but that purpose could have been achieved by other means. And it got more graphic And I don't mean graphic in the, spiciest of spicy sense, but it got more graphic than it needed to between two teenagers. It just, he could have accomplished the same end goal through different means and avoided the entire sticky situation in which suddenly he found himself. Just no. Follett is a better writer than that. And the book is very well paced and it's very tightly woven, and the plot moves forward and you understand the motivations of the bad guys and what the good guys are trying to do and all of the accompanying tensions that are in the story. And it's a standalone. And I'm sorry, but you didn't need two teenagers attracted to one another as part of the story. You really, really didn't. He easily could have written it a different way and had them achieve the same end goal. So that was disappointing. However, I did overall enjoy the book. I really, really did. And it was secular, so it's not a, ding on anything else, but that just didn't need to be there. Okay, so what am I going to read? I honestly don't know. I'm supposed to be reading Ornamental Graces by Karen Astbalk. It is starting out to be a little heavier Christmas story than my brain is letting me read at the moment. So that may not happen this December. We will see. I'm hopeful it does, but we will see. And other than that, I don't know what my week's going to be like, so I don't know what I'm going to read. And that brings me to a housekeeping point. Again, based on my week, there may or may not be a video next Monday with weekly wrap-ups. I'm going to try and do one, but if I don't, I will do one the following Monday, which should be the 30th. And by then, the 12 Days of Christmas will be in full swing, and you guys will have had enough of me to last a lifetime. So, almost all of the 12 Days of Christmas videos are edited, uploaded, ready to go. There's 2 left to film. 25 and 25 has been filmed. It is going to be uploaded this morning, and y'all are getting a Christmas gift. And I am looking at my potential January pile over there on my bookshelves. And I will say that I'm going to have to do my piles of possibility a little different this year, and I'll explain why when I do that video. So, okay. That was my reading week. How was yours? Let me know in the comments down below. I truly appreciate your prayers. You have no idea how grateful I am, how grateful Dave is. They are working. Please don't stop. Have a wonderful 3rd week of Advent. If I do not talk to you next week, have a very, very Merry Christmas. And I will have a very Merry Christmas too. But I should be here next week. Okay, leave a comment down below, like and subscribe, and I will see you here next time at the Protagonist Pub.